Harley Lippman, foreign policy expert, back here on the Live Zone. Harley, it's always good to see you, sir. Welcome back to the show.
Pleasure is mine. I like your jacket.
Oh, well, thank you very much, sir. We like having you on. And with that being said, you can be on every day. Harley, let's start with the fresh strikes in Lebanon. Israeli forces yet again stating that they have come to a ceasefire with Hezbollah, but Hezbollah not a part of that agreement. What's going on here?
Well, it really speaks to the fact that Israel and Lebanon have no grievances with each other. And this is the sadness of the conflict there. Hezbollah is a foreign entity from Iran that is pursuing Iran's colonial ambitions in the Middle East, which has caused tremendous suffering of the people in Lebanon and the people in Israel, because Hezbollah is firing rockets into Israel and has killed countless Israeli civilians, people in the military. People in northern Israel had to leave their homes. They live in hotels or with friends because it's not safe for them. So Hezbollah is truly being identified as a foreign destructive force within the territory of Lebanon.
But wait, there's more. In this case, I'm making reference to more strife and or distress within that region. We now know that Iran says it will charge service fees, not tolls, in the Strait of Hormuz, stating that they will ensure that all vessels will be secure as they cross through the Strait of Hormuz. What say you about that, sir?
Well, there's something called nacho, which is that not a chance that the Strait of Hormuz will open. This is where Iran has discovered strategic deterrence. On one level, while they want and will try to get a nuclear bomb, at this point, they've discovered they don't need one. They have power, they have leverage, they can make a lot of money from charging, whatever you want to call it, service fee or toll for ships going through the Strait of Hormuz. So there's a lot of questions about whether they really will open up the straits for shipping. And even if they do it because of an interim agreement, the real concern is at any time they could just close it again.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with an agreement like that.
Yeah, a lot of folks still concerned about that. And so to your point, it will probably not happen. At least that's what President Trump is saying as of late. But wait, there's more, Harley. In this case, I'm making reference to the ongoing economic fallout. Yeah, sparked by the Iran war. Well, guess what? Saudi Arabia's Minister of Energy said today that greater stabilization of the global energy sector is needed to avert further financial losses. That's a new voice that perhaps we have not heard in the past, now saying something.
Well, it's quite complicated. Saudi Arabia has actually done well economically in this war because of the higher price of oil, so they've made money. Countries that have suffered have been poorer countries like Africa. Countries that don't need as much oil are China and India because they depend on coal. 60% of their energy is coal, while in the United States it's 9%. Countries, I'm just thinking like Iraq, suffer terribly, perhaps the most, because they're not diversified. And they use up about 90% of their revenue is from oil, so they're not recovering very well. And of course, things like precious metals like gold and platinum have gone up dramatically as a safe haven in this crisis. But it's the economic impact is not going to be as bad as people think. GDP is not going to be very different in 2026 than it was in 2025. I think in 2025, I think it was 3.4, and it's going to be in 2026, 3.2. Not a big difference. And it's going to go up in 2027, even with conflict. So that's just some of the quick economic data points, if you will.
Harley, we'll end with this, and that is the relationship and or the, well, let's just say strenuous, perhaps, relationship between President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. For the first time in a long time, at least from what we're getting, the two are somewhat bumping heads to a certain extent. Would you concur?
Well, yeah. I mean, there are some different interests. Let's reverse it. to see how the United States would feel if terrorists from Mexico just fired 6,000 rockets into Texas, and Texas was told they can't defend themselves. They're not allowed to attack the terrorists back in Mexico because the United States is looking at a broader deal with these terrorists. I suspect the people in Texas would not be too pleased that they can't defend themselves. And that's the issue. Hezbollah is firing rockets directly into Israel. They're on Israel's border. They started the fighting before Israel did anything to Hezbollah. Hezbollah joined the war with Hamas and have been firing rockets into Israel ever since. And this is a source of contention. So Trump, in the interest of making a deal with Iran, is allowing himself to be pressured by Iran. And I wonder why he would allow that. Iran's most precious proxy is Hezbollah. So they want to protect that proxy. But that's a very destructive force in the Middle East. It's a destabilizing force. They hate America. The Hezbollah blew up the American embassy in Beirut, as well as the American military compound, and they're an enemy of our ally Israel. So the hope is that Israel is now pressing the offense against Hezbollah when they're most weakest, and they would like to continue to do that. And President Trump doesn't think it's a good idea, but ultimately Israel will listen to the United States because it really has no other option.
Well said. Yet again, Harley Lippman, foreign policy expert, joining us right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. It's always good to see you, my friend. Make it a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Yet again, June is